सुमित बताइए।
शुक्रिया मेहर। जो आज शेयर चुना गया है वो स्पेशलिटी केमिकल कारोबार से और साथ साथ लिकर बिजनेस के अंदर ये कंपनी है, एक डाइवर्सिफाइड प्लेयर है। इंडिया ग्लाइकॉल की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ। कंपनी कई प्रोडक्ट्स जो कि IMFL बिजनेस के अंदर भी आते हैं, तो एक अच्छी डिमांड वहाँ से आ रही है और लास्ट क्वार्टर में जो बूस्ट है वो कंपनी को मिलेगा। और साथ साथ रादर ये भी कहा था कि दूसरी छमाही जो होता है इन कंपनीज के लिए काफ़ी अच्छा होता है, तो हो सकता है उसका भी इम्पैक्ट अगले 2 तिमाही के अंदर नंबर्स में आता हुआ दिखाई पड़े। इनपुट कॉस्ट ईज आउट हुई है तो स्पेशलिटी केमिकल बिजनेस जो है वहां से भी एक अच्छी ग्रोथ आने की उम्मीद है। सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज की पिछली तिमाही में कंपनी ने टर्न अराउंड दिखाया था। Q1 में कंपनी घाटे से मुनाफे के अंदर लौटी थी और इस तिमाही के नंबर्स में भी एक उम्मीद लगाई जा रही कि करीब करीब मुनाफा 2 से 3 गुने के आसपास बढ़ सकता है। एक अच्छी चीज ये है कि लगातार 5 तिमाही के बाद कंपनी की जो ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट मार्जिन है वो डबल डिजिट में आ सकते हैं, 10% के ऊपर आ सकते हैं। अब तक जो ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट मार्जिन है वो पिछले 4 तिमाही से कंपनी लगातार इंप्रूव कर रही है और अब ये ग्रोथ जो है वो 10% के ऊपर आते हुए दिखाई पड़ सकती है। स्पेशली जो इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट है उसको ईज आउट किया है। लगातार 2 साल से कंपनी अपने डेट को रिड्यूस कर रही है। क्वार्टर बाय क्वार्टर कंपनी की इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट ईज आउट होते हुए दिखाई पड़ी और उसकी वजह से कंपनी के नेट प्रॉफिट मार्जिन भी करीब करीब 2 से लेकर 3% तक बढ़ते हुए दिखाई पड़ सकते हैं। एक इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ये है कंपनी के मार्जिन में तो इंप्रूवमेंट आ ही रहा है, साथ साथ कैश फ्लोज भी इंप्रूव हो रहे हैं। कैश फ्लोज की इंप्रूवमेंट की वजह से कंपनी की कैश EPS करीब 6-6.5 रुपए में बरकरार है और अच्छी चीज यही कंपनी का डिविडेंड ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड लगातार मेंटेन्ड है। स्ट्रॉन्ग प्रमोटर होल्डिंग कंपनी में प्रमोटर रखते हैं और अच्छी चीज ये कि जो भी सेकेंड हाफ है कंपनी के लिए उसमें इनपुट कॉस्ट ईज आउट का इंपैक्ट और साथ साथ वॉल्यूम ड्रिवन ग्रोथ जो है उसका इंपैक्ट आता हुआ दिखाई पड़ सकता है। जिन रिपोर्ट्स को रिफर किया गया है उनका मानना है करीब यहाँ से 140-45 रादर 160 रुपए तक की चाल भी देखने को मिल सकती है।
शुक्रिया सुमित। तो इंडिया ग्लाइकॉल्स आज का सुपर शेयर डे हाई पर अभी ट्रेड कर रहा है ऑलमोस्ट 8% के गेंस के साथ 141 के लेवल्स देखे जा रहे हैं। लेकिन अब यहाँ से सीधे रुख कर लेते हैं इंडिया यूके टेक समिट का, जहां वित्त मंत्री अरुण जेटली बोल रहे हैं।
And this was after a very powerful, prolonged struggle. And the strength of this relationship was that it was one of the most peaceful, one of the most civilized transfer and devolutions of power. And the relationship between these two countries, the world's oldest democracy, the world's largest democracy, took off on a perfectly normal note without any sign of bitterness or struggle from day one itself. And the last 7 decades have witnessed not merely trade that we are dealing with today, education, population, common population, tourism, and a whole legacy of institutions that as a growing democracy, India in its initial stages did learn from. And we passed through a phase, particularly in the decades of the 1950s and 60s, where democracies and fragile democracies world over were toppling.
तो ये थे वित्त मंत्री अरुण जेटली इंडिया यूके टेक समिट में बात करते हुए। लेकिन अब बात करते हैं US इलेक्शंस की। और NASSCOM प्रेसिडेंट आज चंद्रशेखर हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं, उनसे बात करते हैं। मिस्टर चंद्रशेखर, मॉर्निंग टू यू, थैंक्स फॉर जॉइनिंग अस। सो फाइनली at least there is some breather for Indian IT industry because Mr. Trump seems to be trailing and in fact today the fate will be sealed in the ballot boxes. What is your sense you are getting from US right now?
It is still very close, although from the polls it does appear that Mrs. Clinton has the edge. But it's still, I think the margin is too small to be sure of any outcome. But from the point of view of the industry, I think the good thing is that both candidates have shown, have underlined the importance of India-US economic relations and how they see this as being an important relationship. So I think that is certainly a strong plus point. Neither of them has particularly focused on India in the context of some of the statements that are being made.
Right.
But as far as the economic and strategic partnership is concerned, both have reiterated the importance of India.
Right. So, initially all this, I would say, heat that was raised by Mr. Trump, especially on the IT outsourcing, on the jobs being stolen by India and China, was that part of more of a rhetoric than some strategy?
I think we have to understand also that in many of these countries, there is a basic distinction between the issues related to unskilled immigration and the issues related to skilled immigration. In the political debates, sometimes the two are mixed together. But the reality is that while there is a certain amount of unemployment and that leads to sensitivity with regard to unskilled immigration, there is a shortage of skilled workers within those countries, and one which is well recognized, well documented. All the government statistics also show that. And this is well known to the planners. So ultimately, that distinction will have to be made in some form when it comes to actual governance. In the heat of an election campaign, such subtle differences get lost. But finally, when it comes down to actual administration, I think a much more balanced view needs to be taken. And I think that we will see such a balanced view, hopefully, after the election is over.
But Mr. Chandrasekhar, though US election is the key concern right now, but company says that clients in the US, they have been putting off spending decision due to the US election. But so do you expect things changing after the elections?
Yes, of course, because you see the business environment in the US, and I'm talking about now the general business environment, there was a certain amount of uncertainty because of the US election. For example, many people believed that the Federal Bank had postponed a decision on the interest rate hike till after the election result. And that in turn led to delays in decision making by banking and financial institutions into technology investments till these uncertainties were resolved. So the moment the outcome is known, then that decision making which was put on temporary hold will take place, because investment in technology is inevitable in every sector, especially in the financial sector, which is now fully dependent on technology. So those things will, I think, come back, and therefore post the election, we do expect things to return to a more even keel.
Right. So, in fact, the bigger question right now, I think, will be the trajectory that US economy takes. And in that regards, do you see a drastic shift as far as economic policy is concerned in the US, just in case Mr. Trump was to become president?
It is difficult to say, because he has not elaborated any of his policies at this point. So what actual policies he will follow would be difficult to say, especially when it comes down to the details. But I think what we need to remember is that actually the US economy has been doing quite well. And in fact, the growth rates have not been bad at all for an economy of that size and for the world's largest economy. But I think the problem has not been of growth. I think the problem has been of an equitable growth. And that is what is causing all the political problems, that the fruits of this growth are no longer being equally available to the entire population, but they are, being concentrated in a few hands. So, for example, a lot of the growth, I think the top, if I am not mistaken, there were statistics that the top few percent of the income earners, 60% of the growth has actually gone to them. So I think the problem has been of equitable growth. The problem has been of growth without too many jobs getting added. The problem has been of high-skilled jobs being created, which the unemployed people are not able to fill. And those structural issues are much deeper, and it is not simply a question of growth.
But Mr. Chandrasekhar, apart from US and US election impact, companies are also grappling with other macroeconomic factors such as Brexit and volatile oil prices, which have made companies to hit the pause button on spending, especially in Europe. So how do you see the situation right now coming from the Europe and other countries, keeping in mind that Indian IT companies are not very comfortable on this aspect?
I agree with you that, in Europe, the Brexit referendum has created a different kind of uncertainty. The immediate impact, of course, was on the sharp decline of the value of the pound. But now it is very clear that there will be a protracted uncertainty because over the next 2 to 3 years, the terms of Brexit will be negotiated between UK and Europe. And secondly, even within Europe, the impact of Brexit perhaps is being felt. There is a talk about even Italy looking at a referendum. So how is Europe going to take the exit of UK? Number one. And number two, because of these internal pressures within the European Union, there is a belief that Europe will be very hard in the negotiations with UK in order to avoid other countries also trying to take a similar route. So all of these uncertainties mean that both for UK and Europe, there could be question marks and uncertainty about the business environment. Right. But having said that, businesses are now fairly integrated globally, and therefore there will be some parts of the business which will have to continue to invest, will continue to grow, if they don't want to be completely squeezed out of the international arena. Because if they do that, then it will be even worse for the British and for the European economy. So those companies which are working globally will have to continue to make investments in order to remain competitive and in order to remain in business. So as far as the IT industry is concerned, that will still be an avenue for growth, although these uncertainties will have their impact.
Right. All right, Mr. Chandrasekhar, thanks for joining us. We hope to reconnect with you once the polling is over. But thanks for joining us.